Hi boys and girls, welcome back. We're going to be working with 3D shapes again today. You need your math pages 699 to 704 and a pencil and you'll be ready to begin. If you need to shut off the video, pause it for a second, go find your stuff, get ready, and we will begin. Okay, boys and girls, so yesterday we started talking about three-dimensional shapes, and we learned that the main difference between a two-dimensional shape and a three-dimensional shape is that a two-dimensional shape is flat. A two-dimensional shape is flat. And if you remember, Miss Brockman showed you that with the circle and the sphere, and then the square and the cube, the square and the cube. So you get a good idea of a flat shape and a three-dimensional shape, a solid. This is called a solid or a three-dimensional shape. So see, you can pick it up, squeeze it, it's solid all the way through. Well, today we're going to talk about two more shapes. We're going to talk about two more shapes. We're going to move on to talking about what's called a cylinder. A cylinder. I'm going to show you it like this first, and then I'm going to stick it up like that. And then what's called a cone. A cone. Okay, so let's look at the cylinder first. The cylinder first. Boys and girls, what object does this remind you of? If you go into your food pantry, I bet you might find some stuff that's this shape. Does this shape remind you of a can? Of a can? Yeah, a cylinder is the shape of a can. It's got two circle sides and then a round side. So this is a shape that can actually roll. I'm showing it roll just a little bit like this. And it can also sit flat on those flat circle sides that it has or faces. Now, the next shape we have here is a cone, Now, boys and girls, there might be a tasty treat that you can think of that's shaped like a cone. And there's one right here actually on your page. It's an ice cream cone. It's an ice cream cone. So an ice cream cone is the shape of a cone, but actually think too of a party hat. A party hat could be the shape of a cone as well. So it looks like it's got a point, kind of like a triangle piece, and then on the very bottom there's a flat circle surface like this. Okay, so this is a cylinder or a can-like object, and this is a cone. This is a cone. Why don't you take a walk around your house and see if you might have a cone or a cylinder somewhere in your house. Pause the video and then I'll join you on page 700 when you get back. Okay, boys and girls, good job. Now, we're going to go over the two new math words that we learned in this section. We learned the word cylinder. And I want you to think of a cylinder as the shape of a can. The shape of a can. Okay, so this is the cylinder. And what you are going to do is you're going to look at these two objects here and you're going to circle the object that looks like a cylinder or a can. A cylinder or a can. That is a solid object that looks like this. So you have a piece of fruit here and then you have a battery. I hope you picked the battery, boys and girls, because the battery, and it was done for you, is the shape of a cylinder or a can. While the fruit is, do you remember? That's right, the fruit was the shape of a sphere or a ball. Excellent. Now, the second word we learned in this section is we learned the word cone. Cone. Now, boys and girls, that's another word that we can read here. It's a two-vowel word, which means that this letter was going to say its name. This one wasn't going to say anything at all. Cone. Cone. Remember, a cone looks like a party hat or an ice cream cone. And then they wanted you to go ahead and find the cones, circle them, just like that. And who remembers what this is? That's right, this was the cylinder or the can, and I'm just going to write can next to this one because that's an easy word to read, can. So it's a cylinder. Okay, boys and girls, so what we're going to do in this page is we're going to look for cylinders and cones. Now this should be relatively easy for you. Hopefully we can move through this quickly. Anytime you need to pause the video, please feel free to pause the video, review what we've learned so far, move ahead at this point. So if you look at row number 3 here, you have a shape. You have a shape. You're going to name the shape, and then you are going to find the shape in this row that is the same shape. Now remember, it doesn't have to be the same height to still be a cylinder or a can. Okay, so we're going to look. So this is a cylinder. It's can shape. So you want to look for the shape here that is the same. This could be a little tricky, but boys and girls, I gave you the hint that it does not have to be as tall as this one. So this was the cylinder or the can. So you should have circled, I think that's tuna fish, boys and girls. You should have circled the can of tuna fish, and then you can do one step further and put X's on these other two shapes. Okay, good job finding that cylinder. Now let's look at number 4. What shape was this again, boys and girls? The cone, that's right. So you're going to find the cone in this row and circle it and put X's on the shapes that are not the cones. Good job, boys and girls. Did you find the cone and then put X's on the two shapes that were not? Excellent job. Let's go ahead and turn to page 701 in your book. Now, just like we did with the spheres and the cubes in the last page, we're going to do the same thing with the cones and the spheres. The cones and the cylinders on this one. So what you're going to do is in row 5, 6, 7, and 8, you're going to look at the first shape, say out loud the name of the shape, and then find the shape that matches. Circle the shape that matches and put an X on those that do not. So you're going to do the same thing in each of these. Pause the video, complete it now, and then join me to do page number 702 together. Now, boys and girls, you are going to need your box of crayons to do this page. So you're going to need the box of crayons to do this page. You're going to need a blue crayon and a red crayon. Pause the video to do so. All right, boys and girls, welcome back. Now, what we're going to do on this page is, if you look, we have a box of crayons that has spilt on the floor, and not only did they spill, they broke into two different shapes. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the pieces to these crayons. If the piece of the crayon is the shape of a cylinder, remember a cylinder is can-like, you're going to color those pieces, those shapes, red. So all of the cylinders you're going to color red. Then you're going to find the shapes of the cones, and you're going to color those blue. Pause the video and find the shapes now. Remember, boys and girls, you are coloring all of the cones blue and all of the cylinders red. Excellent job, boys and girls. Now, when you come back, you're going to be doing the My Homework section of cones and cylinders. So you're going to complete this lesson, you doing pages 703 and 704. This should look familiar to what we've already done so far in this packet. You're going to say the name of each of the shapes, circle the matching shapes, and put X's on the ones that do not match. So you're going to do both sides. Next, down here on the back page, the last two problems here, use those words that we've learned in this section. So this is number 7. You are going to be doing your best to draw a cylinder or a can. That is our helper clue word, is a can. And then you are going to draw a cone for number 8. Boys and girls, excellent job on these. Join me tomorrow and we are going to learn a couple new shapes. See you then.